we need to have words for this guy. Google Stadia's guy, this guy. We need to have a word about this guy. What was going on with this guy, Daniela?
Okay, so this is kind of following off of like the entire like what is it, third, fourth, I don't know, wave of DMCA stuff that's going on with Twitch.
What was wrong with this guy?
We can play devil's advocate on this one.
We can? Okay.
Yeah, we can.
All right.
Okay, so the unpopular let's go with the unpopular opinion about his statement here.
Let's read it first.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to read it or you want to read it?
Go ahead, Daniela.
All right. Alex Hutchinson. Streamers worried about getting their content pulled because they use music they didn't pay for should be more worried by the fact that they're streaming games that they didn't pay for as well. It's all gone as soon as publishers decide to enforce it. The real truth is the streamers should be paying the developers and publishers of the games they stream, and they should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. So that guy got a lot of hate, especially during this whole DMCA thing. And then he was really super quick to change his title and his profile on Twitter because he was very closely tied to Stadia, but he doesn't really work on Stadia's project.
Interesting.
He doesn't. Like he's very super quick. He's a creative director at a Montreal studio for the games, not for Stadia itself.
Interesting.
So he's very quick to do that because I'm pretty sure Stadia is already having a rough enough time being popular and wanting people to have their service. So to have this guy come in and say this is more damaging to them, where they're already trying to just like make things happen. But I mean, at least Stadia has lasted longer than Quibi. But so the unpopular opinion is that technically, I believe that developers and publishers could do this if they wanted to.
Okay.
Could. Does not mean that they will or they should, but they could. Because when you buy a game, you're buying it for personal use. That is for you. Even when you rent a game, for personal use for you. It's the same thing when you buy a movie. It is for personal use, not for you to, I bought this movie, I can stream it online to everybody to see all I want. No. Video games are the same exact way. So I understand it from that point of view. But will a developer and publisher do that? No. No. They would be shooting themselves in the foot if they ever did that. Streamers and content creators right now is the number one driving force for their sales and interest in their games. They can market, they can have all the commercials, they can have all of these press releases, they can do all of these things for their games. But nothing is more successful than finding that right content creator with that right influence to market your game and get it out there. Case in point, for the two most popular games right now, Among Us and Fall Guys. Among Us was like on the verge, like it was out for 2 years already. It was on the verge of like, okay, we're just going to give up because we're not getting, we're not getting the revenue. We're not making it. You have, I believe, the first streamer who was CDN the third. Like, well, okay, he wasn't I don't feel he was technically the first streamer that streamed the game, possibly, but he was the first big influencer that did. And then he has all his other friends who are really big influencers who jumped into the game. And then it was this huge, phenomenal thing that happened. And that was 2 years after the game came out. If it was not for that streamer, for CDN the third, for Dr. Lupo, for any of them to play this game, this studio probably would have shut them down by like the end of the year.
And the game's like $4.99, isn't it? Or something like that?
Yeah, it's like $5.
Insane.
Huge for them. Fall Guys too. Fall Guys have like so many content creators that are like jumping on to buy the game, the like everything inside their skin packs and everything like that. The battle pass, all of that stuff. Content creators. Majority of the games that people are interested in, like they'll see a trailer, oh, that looks cool. They'll see like whatever scripted 15 minutes of gameplay. That looks cool. But when they see it in action of somebody else playing it and doing their things or playing how they would play it to get a real feel of the game, oh, that looks fun. You're enjoying yourself. That makes me want to play it. So there's no way that a developer and publisher would ever enact this. But there is truth to his statement.
So here's my issue, okay? When it comes to stuff like this or any other tweet that makes its rounds on, podcasts, video shows or whatever, what would possess you to say something like that during such a interesting time for the Google Stadia platform? Why even do it? That's my thing. It's one thing to know what's happening behind the scenes, be associated with a particular company, publisher, or whatever the case might be, but why even do this? You know what I mean? That's my thing. So it's like, okay, you say this, you get a whole bunch of heat from it, you make adjustments to your profile, and my thing is like, when it comes to attention, um, it seems like whether it's good or bad, some individuals do not care, even if they're making a point that can be, polarizing, right? We'll say that, right?
Okay.
Sometimes you could be right, and sometimes you could be wrong, right? But why even go to the extent to post the thoughts on social without even like you did you read that before you post it? Like, even now, like when I'm drafting stuff, and I don't know if you do this, I'll read the thing a couple of times and be like, when this goes out, okay, what is it going to do when it goes out, right? So then I have to make sure that it's not personalized. It doesn't sound like a subtweet. It's promoting goodness to everybody, right? So, and I think that when it comes to things like this or any other tweet or people talking crazy on podcasts or people talking crazy on video shows and stuff like that, what's happening to get there? So I know that's a tough question to answer, and maybe that's just something that to think about. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, you should have read this a couple of times. You should have bounced it off somebody, and I think that that's the challenge, right? There is no training for this, and even if there is, when your pride gets in the way, you post craziness like this, like you said, there may be some truth there, but nobody would do that because the advertising and the marketing for their game would be cut so short, right?
Yeah.
To nothing basically. So when you're getting a game from a company now, especially during this time, November into next year, they want you to stream their stuff because they know the value in that, like you mentioned. So the mindset for that, to post stuff like that, it's so dangerous. And what happens, right? So depending on your status on social, it's either going to affect you or boost you up, right? So
Yeah.
now I didn't know this guy until this.
Me
Did
neither.
you know him?
Nope. Nope.
Nobody,
Not at
no,
all.
nobody that I know knew him until this went out, right? And I think that that's the danger with social. Yes, you have the ability to say whatever you want. Yes, it's your account. Yes, you own, quote unquote, the names to those accounts and the authentication to access them. But that doesn't mean that you have to say everything that's on your mind. And that's the danger.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't I for me I take it as and I read it as is that he wasn't implying it to be something that's going to be happening or that even for him is going to be, acting upon to do. I think he was just giving another example or hypothetical. That's the way I took it. I mean,
Right.
there's so many different angles that you can approach that with. And a lot of people just took it as like, this is what's going to happen. And this guy's trying to say this is what publishers and developers are going to do. And they just like really super jumped on him. Was it smart for him to say, no, obviously not. But I mean, it's kind of like your little corner. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot worse things that are said that people believe wholeheartedly and find truth behind and act upon it. And that is their
Yeah.
life that they say. And there's no way that you can change their mind.
Right.
That puts stuff
Daniela?
out.